The Guyana government says it's ready to thwart opposition plans to disrupt Parliament. And in sport, a top Bermudian cricketer succumbs to cancer. I'm Ricardo Robertson. This is Caribbean Intent for Thursday, January 3, 2019. I'll be back with the details after the break.
The story in this case certainly centers around a theme of anti-Semitism. You know, it's hard to believe in this country that there are still people running around hating people because they're Jewish or because they're black or whatever is their protected status. But in this particular case, you know, the County of Madera is certainly off the beaten path of major metropolis cities like Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Where are you from?
I was born in Florida.
Okay.
But I was raised most of my life here in Bay Area.
Oh yeah, what part of the Bay Area?
Fremont.
Fremont,
Yeah.
okay. Nice, nice, yeah. Dude, I was just checking out some of your songs. You have some really good music. Like,
Thank you.
It's radio friendly, you know what I mean? Have you been doing a lot of shows? I mean, I'm assuming you have.
Yeah, I've been going around doing shows, but you know, recently I've been spending a lot of time in the studio, you know, just coming out with new music.
Yeah?
We begin in Guyana, where the David Granger-led administration says it has put plans in place to foil plans by the opposition to disrupt today's sitting of the National Assembly, at which Speaker Barton will rule on the consequences of last month's no-confidence vote. The government said in a statement issued yesterday that it has credible evidence of a plan by the People's Progressive Party, the PPP, to disrupt the sitting. The government lost the no-confidence motion on December 21st when one of its members, Chancharas Prasad, sided with the opposition People's Progressive Party, and the motion got 33 yes votes in the 65-member National Assembly, where the government has just a one-seat majority.
The government submitted a legal brief to the Speaker on the interpretation of the constitutional provisions for the passage of the confidence motion and has agreed that 34 of the 65 members is the required majority and not 33. The release says that government has reaffirmed that it will continue to respect and uphold the Constitution and would resist the legislative coup procured by bribery or other unlawful means. According to government, the Speaker ought to be allowed to pronounce on the constitutional threshold for a confidence vote without pressure or threats of any kind. Opposition leader Barry Jack Deere had earlier said that his members of parliament will not attend tomorrow's sitting if the Speaker will be addressing the review of the confidence motion. The opposition since the confidence vote has been calling for government to resign.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness and opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips have agreed to meet Monday to discuss crime and security. They held private talks on Wednesday at Vale Royal, the official residence of the Prime Minister, and they agreed that teams from the main political parties would meet on Monday. The private talks were held after the People's National Party declined an invitation from Holness to meet on the state of emergency, SOE, as Phillips said the notice for the meeting was too short. The two have been at odds concerning the SOE following the stance taken by the opposition on December 11th to withdraw its support for the anti-crime measure. It had argued that detainees were being subjected to human rights abuses and that the SOE was no longer necessary given the reduction in crimes, particularly murder. Now, during the SOEs, the security forces have the power to search, curtail operating hours of business, restrict access to places, and detain persons without a warrant. They also have the power to stop and question persons, seize property, and control public gatherings and movements. With the opposition's vote against extending the SOE, the measure ended in the St. Catherine North Police Division yesterday. It will end in sections of the corporate area on January 7th and in the Western Parish of St. James on January 31st. Bahamian authorities are set to deport the largest or the latest group of Haitian migrants who entered the country illegally. 24 migrants who arrived on Tuesday were promptly captured and taken before the courts in Nassau. More in this report from ZNS Network News.
The group, consisting of 9 women and 15 men, filed out of court Wednesday afternoon and were boarded onto a bus. The magistrate turned the group over to the Department of Immigration, and they will be housed at the detention center until they are deported. The Haitian nationals were apprehended in the South Beach Pools area by Defense Force officers after a 35 to 40-foot wooden sloop made it just offshore around 1 a.m. Tuesday. Some of the group also escaped into the surrounding bushes that Chief Immigration Officer Harold Thurston says led Defense Force officers on a search that lasted all day, following intelligence that 70 to 90 migrants left Port-au-Paix, Haiti, days ago.
This is what we heard. We have no concrete evidence that much came, but this is what our intelligence told us. So we were out looking all day yesterday. Our search ended sometime after 9 last night.
Thurston says these searches can be arduous on his officers and other law enforcement agencies that assist.
We have to spend long hours in the bush, on the roads, looking for these persons. Sometimes it's better if we catch them coming off a boat. The earlier we get news that they're here, the easier it is to catch them. But now when they get into the community, sometimes there are persons picking them up. Sometimes they hide in the bush. So my team have to go in along with the other law enforcement agencies to actually look for these persons.
Thurston says with the group now charged, they will be repatriated within days.
And stay with us, your Midday Sport is next. Glenn Blakeney, a former hard-hitting Bermuda batsman known as the Master Blaster, has died after complications from a prolonged struggle with cancer. His father, also Glenn, a former Progressive Labour Party cabinet minister, said his son, who would have turned 46 on January, died surrounded by close family members at a Long Island, New York hospital. The Royal Gazette newspaper said Blakeney was diagnosed with kidney cancer in March 2013, and the cricketer, who had dominated for so long, had accepted that he was in for another battle. His father described his demeanor over the past few years as brave. Blakeney came to prominence as a flashy young left-hander with Hamilton Parish Workspan Club in the late 1980s. He played 2 one-day internationals in 2009 during the ICC World Cup qualifiers for the 2011 showpiece, along with a single first-class match in the ICC Intercontinental Cup against the United States back in 2004. Meanwhile, ex-FIFA Vice President Austin Jack Warner will deliver the eulogy of former Trinidad and Tobago Football Association President Oliver Camps, who passed away on New Year's Day. Warner had been a longtime friend of the 87-year-old who gave yeoman service to TNT football between 1992 and 2012. Warner spoke with TV6's Vinod Nawani.
She did ask me then to prepare myself to say his eulogy. And I told her, okay, I will. It's not something I like to do, but for him, I will. And she asked me also to make it the best eulogy ever.
Reflecting on Camps' life, Warner says no one will ever be able to fill his shoes in football. He added that the former administrator had played an instrumental role in which a former world-class cricketer attended. That's Caribbean in 10. Join us again at 6:30 for Caribbean Newsline. Good afternoon.